This is Grappling Greg, and you're watching Squared Circle.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another very special edition of the award-winning Squared Circle.
Where's the award?
The award?
It would be right here, but it would
I know.
block out Bill from North Haven.
I know. We have joining us here tonight, the super fan of the year, since this is the year in review tonight. And if I get the date wrong, I'm really messed up. It's December 30th. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Bill
From North Haven.
from North Haven.
Hello, everyone.
Frequent caller. First time.
First
Right.
time sitting
Host.
behind the thing here.
Yeah.
Oh, I assume you're not going to be calling tonight.
You never know. You know, I could have pre-recorded some comments. So.
Oh, there we go.
There we go. And as well, we have Mr. Dan Hoff. Dangerous Dan,
Yep.
definitely. Welcome back, sir.
Thank you.
And like I said, it's December 30th. I didn't get the date wrong. If I did, you know, maybe I shouldn't be here anymore.
You introduced Bill. You introduced Dan.
You didn't introduce John.
Everybody should know you by now.
Well, I should,
his
but
heart
for
is
the
broken.
but for
Mr.
the
John
new viewers
Zimmerman,
just
ladies
tuning
and
in.
gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Give it up.
Yes.
And if you didn't see last week, I want you to take a good look at this right here.
There's the gold.
That's the gold. That's the standard bearer for TV titles now on the independent scene.
There it is. Oh, now you put the square. There it is.
The Squared Circle Television Championship.
PWA.
PWA Squared Circle.
That's
All
correct.
right.
Yes,
course.
last week Joseph von Schmidt himself came and presented the title to us, and in March, on March 28th, in Bristol, it will be decided between Lucas Sharp and Troy Stevens.
That's right. And I'm a little mixed as to who I would want.
Well, you know, as Joseph von Schmidt himself said, you know, everyone remembers who the first one is. So the first person to win this title, you know, it will be historic.
Exactly. It's
So,
going to be.
I think both-
It's going to be a trivia question eventually, like 100 years from now.
There we are. Yeah, and while we're talking about Joseph von Schmidt, he put out on his Facebook that someone, he wouldn't mention who, offered him a contract. So
Someone offered
yeah,
him.
we're looking forward to seeing what you know comes out of that, and hopefully, you know, not only is it a positive thing for Joseph von Schmidt, but all the students at PWA.
It would be.
Yeah.
So once you get, you know, once he gets in the door, you know,
That's a positive thing.
he'll have his own clique.
That's
to,
right.
to bring in. So, you know, we can only guess on who it is that offered him a contract, but
He's not
hopefully,
saying.
yeah, and, you know, I mean, he's had offers before, and you know, the right thing hasn't happened yet.
Right.
You know, and it's a big sacrifice for him to. I don't want to say be selfish, but to make that leap and to leave his school and his students behind. So I think it's going to be a huge decision on his part. But you know, I wish him the
Because
best.
he's got a lot going on with PWA right now. too.
Yes, yeah, sure does.
Building it up.
Yeah, and you know, as he mentioned, he's got PWA, hopefully in South America.
Right.
Down with Little Schmidt, and he's got it in New Hampshire, opening relatively soon. He's got another branch there, and he's trying to get a new building and a performance center here. So he's got a lot of irons in the fire, and you know, it's going to be a heavy decision
Right.
for him to go out and do that.
I know. It
So-
is. And you know what? We're going to have to stick by him
Oh, without a doubt.
no matter
without
what
a
he
doubt.
decides to do.
Without
Yeah.
oh, of course,
Exactly.
of course. You know, we
Because
support
whatever
him.
he decides to do, I think it's going to be the right choice.
Yeah, you know, I think, and I put it out there on our page, I think 2015 is going to be the year of PWA.
Yep.
He's going to grow by leaps and bounds. And, you know, he's really being cautious and making the right steps.
Right.
He's not in any huge hurry to make a mistake. So I really think he's got the world by the coyotes.
Exactly. Exactly. So, this is, that being said, this is the year in review 2014.
Yep.
And we'll end with last night on Raw.
Yep.
But we'll start. I mean, a lot of people know, the big avid wrestling fans that are WWE fans know what's been going on most of the year. But we haven't really talked much. Maybe it's because there's more news out there about WWE than the other two major companies.
Yep.
Or what? Maybe we should make a New Year's resolution to pay attention more to TNA and ROH in the coming year.
TNA's got some tapings coming up in the new year, relatively close to us. They're going to be in New York in the Manhattan Center in January. So, that's hopefully bodes well for them. And they got the new TV contract with Discovery Networks. And we'll see where they go from there. But TNA really hasn't given us much to talk about.
Yeah.
I know. So, but Dan, I know you really like to follow them a lot. And
Speaking about the Manhattan Center, next Wednesday night on the new home of TNA, Destination America, it is a live show emanating from the Manhattan Center. We're going to see, oh my God, Robert Roode against his, I guess you could say, becoming his arch nemesis as of late, Bobby Lashley.
Bobby Lashley.
And also signed to that series of cards in the Manhattan Center. They're going to be taping the Hardy Boys against the American Wolves again.
Nice.
So
That's
they're
gonna be
pulling
a
in
great
some big
series.
action.
And what's his face? Oh my God, Kurt Angle. Thank you. You can say it. Go ahead. Kurt Angle. Go ahead.
Right, I think I saw it right today. I'm
Yeah.
not sure, but he's signed his contract with them.
That's correct.
So he's
Thank
going
you.
to stay in there for a while.
Right.
I think you gave me the brain fart too. We're both blanking out.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Possibly.
Kurt Angle did re-sign with TNA to wrestle full time.
So, Dan, what do you think about this Destination America move from Spike TV? Do you think it's going to help them out?
Well, they're getting more programming on the air.
Right.
Initially, from what I've seen, what I've read, the channel is doing a better job of publicizing them.
Yep.
Through different venues. So it seems like that channel is taking a more serious approach to the product as in a whole than formerly Spike did. At the same time, making that transition from Spike to Destination America, they're going to lose some fans in that transition. But I think in time, people will be there
Right.
as long as they maintain a quality level, which they've done the last couple of months since Mr. Hogan has departed.
Did we get a number for the saturation of that station that they're going to be on? Because I don't think it reaches the same amount of households as Spike did.
It does not. Well, and a lot of it, some of it has to do with Spike's part of a regular package on your cable
Right.
or satellite. And with satellite, I know for sure Direct, it's an additional. It's the next grade up package.
Yeah. Right.
And some people just don't have that extra $6-7
Right.
to
Well,
spare. you
and
know?
that's the irony because TNA is so popular in the UK because they're part of
Right.
the basic package, and WWE is less popular because they're part of a pay package
Yeah.
Right.
over in the UK. So now it's almost the reverse for TNA. But I think a good move for TNA would be to take that Thursday slot on Spike and buy some advertising. Have the first commercial of the hour be, hey, now appearing on this other station.
Right.
Because you can buy advertising.
Why not? At any station.
Yeah. So I mean, hey, buy some advertising on Spike when people, just out of habit tune in. Your regular viewers would be tuning into Spike. Hey, TNA's not here. Hey, have a commercial. Boom. Hey, switch over to here, Destination
Right.
America, and see Spike. And if you don't have it, call your cable provider.
But I hope things do work out for TNA.
Oh, we always say that. you
Right.
know.
Yeah, and they've been marketing even in local markets. Their commercials that they're advertising, they're moving to Destination America. Their times, there's always something new. Seems almost daily coming out over the net.
Yeah.
So they're doing a better job
we
of
gotta-
advertising.
Wow, we got a call.
Wow, we got
Got a call
And
here.
it's not me.
I hope I don't hang up on him.
Oh boy.
Hello.
Better not hang up on me, Hollywood.
I got it right, see?
Oh, Mr. Dacey.
I got it right the first time.
I hope the catering was satisfactory this evening.
The catering was more than satisfactory this evening.
Yes, our good friends at American Steamed did catering for us this evening, and if we're a little sluggish,
Right.
that's why.
But we
There they are.
Sitting here at a stockholders meeting at the moment.
Yes.
I see.
So I wanted to give you gentlemen a call and wish you all a happy new year.
Definitely, you too.
New Year. That was so 3 months ago.
And what did you guys think of Monday Night Raw last night?
I thought it was. It was a moderate Raw. It was good and bad. I mean, some of the things. The Ascension, I'm not too particularly crazy about. As I said last week, I think it's just a little too. I'm sure they're great athletes, but I think it's just a little too reminiscent of the Road Warriors.
Legion of Doom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's this other team I'd like to see them bring up called the Vaudevillains, which I think is a pretty humorous gimmick.
Yeah.
They're very good. I like those
Right.
guys.
I didn't like the ending with Cena having to bring back the Authority, and then the Authority just automatically showing up at the very, very end.
I think it's a little too early. I wish they let that play out a little more.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I did like at the end of Raw when Sandow and Miz were talking to Edge and Christian, and Ed said to him, "I know you need to blow off some steam." So
I know.
a little tip of the cap
Yeah, I
to
wonder where they got that from.
yeah,
I don't know.
a little tip of the cap to our friends at American Steam. It seems that every time
I did still comment on that, by the way.
it seems that every time we do stuff on this show, it gets repeated that ad nauseum everywhere else.
You guys are trendsetters.
Yes, we
I
are.
know.
Yes, we are. But the one thing that WWE will not get a hold of is the championship belt right here.
Exactly.
The one thing that I was a little upset with was I would have liked to seen the Roman Reigns match go a little longer.
Yeah. You can react.
Okay, react. Yeah, I'd like to see it go a little bit longer too. I just get worried that they're going to start to kind of veer off with him a little bit and not push him as hard as they were pushing him before. And sometimes people get lost in the WWE, and I think that would be a shame.
But we just want to remind your audience, guys, that you will not be live next week.
No, we're going to be doing a location shoot next week at American Steam.
That's correct.
Yep.
Which reminds me, perhaps I should run that video from last week back. Or we can replay tonight's episode next week.
Yeah, well,
And then-
we'll definitely have something here on time slot,
That's
but it
right.
will not be live. And then we're going to air later in the week what we're going to film over at American Steamed.
Exactly. Yep. It'll be my 39th. I'll say it. Why not?
Go ahead.
Nothing wrong with it. Birthday celebration.
That's correct. That's correct.
That's right. Hollywood's
Right.
birthday is next week.
Yeah. Well,
So
one
make
month
sure
after
you
mine.
make sure you bring all the party favors now. You know.
So does that mean I have to bring a tape next Tuesday to throw on Hollywood's face?
Right. And please don't invite any of those B+ monkeys.
Yeah,
either.
we're going to invite Saru to bring a banana cream pie.
Because everybody likes
There
pie.
you go.
Everybody loves pie.
Better
There we
wait
are.
for Hollywood.
All right. Thank you very
But
much,
gentlemen-
Tom. And
Gentlemen, we will, if I can borrow a phrase from Mr. Zimmerman, we will see you next Tuesday.
Yes.
You bet your life.
you bet your life.
Bet your life.
Thank you, sir.
Working
Good night,
hard.
gentlemen.
Working hard so others don't have to.
That's
Working
it.
hard so others don't have to.
You bet your life.
Bet your life. Take it easy, Tom.
Love it. And the guys down at American Steamed are working hard so we can be fed.
Exactly. I
And
know.
we were definitely fed well. It was quite the feast.
Quite the feast, definitely. So then we were treated over the summer to Ring of Honor appearing here
Yes.
in Brooklyn.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, Coney Island.
Yeah, and we,
That was-
we ate pretty well that day.
Right. We did.
We were at Nathan's. It was like right after the big hot dog eating contest, right? Give or take.
Give or take, after or before, something like
I
that.
think we had our own hot dog.
You ever been down there to Coney Island, Dan?
Can't say I have.
And
No.
you, sir?
I've been there many times. It's been a few years, but
Yeah.
would frequent down that area.
Nathan's is fantastic down
As
there.
well as they had a card also. What is the name of that place in Manhattan? Terminal 5 in Manhattan over December, and that was a great pay-per-view as well.
Yes, yes.
They signed a lot of great talent. They signed AJ Styles away from TNA, Christopher Daniels, Frank Kazarian, and also starting real soon, Alberto Del Rio.
Hopefully they'll do something with him. They won't make him stick with that same gimmick that he had in WWE. And
It's going to be similar, I think.
if they let him, come up with a new character and be himself, and it's more. But Ring of Honor is really more in-ring talent than
Right.
Yeah.
than
Exactly.
on the mic abilities and backstage and all that stuff. It's more, of a wrestling-based
Exactly.
company than a story-based company.
Throw back to the old times when that's when wrestling was more like wrestling
Yeah.
and less like story. And you are live once again on the Squared Circle.
Hey, why don't you have Rex Ryan wrestle for that PWA?
Yeah, I understand he's not busy at the moment.
He's looking for a job. He might do that. And I understand. I didn't hear. I was listening very intently to Tom's call because he didn't say anything about his beloved Miami Dolphins being crushed by the team that arguably will win the Super Bowl next season, the New York Jets.
I understand they did pass the medical marijuana law. Because you must be smoking something.
A lot of it.
The fans that fired John Idzik, they passed around the pass of medical marijuana.
There you go.
But anyway, I just enjoying the program. I just wanted to chime in for the last time this year. I will have a commitment now for the following Tuesdays for a while, so won't be able to call.
I'm sorry, you're going to be committed? What was that?
No, a commitment.
Oh,
Commitment. Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Although there are people that should be committed. And I'll say one thing is and I'm not as big a wrestling fan as I used to be, but I would say, and I guess you guys can talk about it after I hang up, was the biggest story for me in 2014, I guess, was The Undertaker getting beat at WrestleMania and having the streak beaten. So as a casual fan, that was the biggest wrestling story for me. But I just wanted to call and tell Mr. Dacey that if he's still listening or here's a copy of this, that I will be having a roast dolphin tomorrow night. All right, gentlemen, have a good night.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you very much.
That, of course, is Ed McCarver,
Exactly.
Tom's co-host over
Tom.
there, talking with Tom.
I'm talking with Tom, and he's moved on us.
Yes, Talking with Tom will now be seen at WPAA.
Right.
That should be an interesting move.
Definitely. Wonder who we'd run into down there in PAA.
We love everyone at PAA.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Where's that located?
I don't think I've ever been there.
I don't know.
But of course, we do still encourage viewers of Talking with Tom, to follow it.
Oh, absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely. We tease. We tease.
We tease.
PAA, of course, is part of the greater cable access community, and
Exactly.
a lot of great people over there, and as well as over here. So
Exactly. No matter what you have for equipment, no matter what you use, we're all the same. We're all in on this together to provide great programming and provide great
that's
information
what it is.
for
It's
everyone.
entertainment. And
Exactly.
and information. Yeah, it's best for business. That's correct.
We all know what's best for business, and what's best for business is the viewer.
Yes. that's
Exactly.
correct.
Which made this guy here tune in every week
Yeah.
to the Squared Circle.
It's fantastic. He went from watching us, and I believe you weren't aware of PWA before you were watching us.
I don't think I was. I think it was maybe the second show I heard you guys mention it, and I went up on the internet and looked it up, and I think the first show I went to was probably I think it was March.
Yeah.
And you know, I heard you guys mention it, and I was like, hey, you know what? Let me look it up. And I saw they had a show. I was like, I'm going.
So there it is. I mean, our show, brought in some business for PWA,
Definitely.
and a fan for life.
That's it. You know, I watch every. I called last week to drop in, but you guys didn't know. I was actually out to dinner with my wife for her birthday. So I made up an excuse to go outside and call into the show. So hopefully she's not going to watch this show tonight.
Right.
Because then I'm going to get in trouble for being on this show.
Right.
I'm also going to kick it out on her birthday. But,
I cannot be held responsible.
Right. We didn't know anything. We
You
didn't know
guys
it.
could deny everything. So, you got doors that lock here, so you should
Yes.
be okay.
Right.
Yes.
But yeah, it was, I just stumbled upon this show by chance. I saw you guys talking. I said, I saw something, maybe it was a shirt you're wearing. I was like, oh, these guys look interesting, and I just started listening. After that, was hooked.
Oh,
and,
thank you.
So it's a good show. It's the fact that you guys get to talk about something that you really enjoy, and you let people call in. When Jay can use the phone correctly.
Right.
It's
Hey,
very
you know,
helpful.
Better. You got
I
two
think
for two tonight.
I know.
Yeah, I think that was the best joke I used to get. My wife was looking. She goes, "Does that guy know how to use the phone?" I go, "Apparently he does, but we're gonna get through."
Right.
But
Well, in midstream, they changed phone systems on us. So once we only had that one little button, and it was easy. It was very
Exactly.
simple. And then
Now
we
you got like 10 buttons over
Right,
here,
yeah,
and if you hit this button over here, it's
It's
a good.
like the
You
command
know, it's a
center.
good thing I never hit that button over there.
Yeah.
Because I think that launches the missile to.
to TNA.
North Korea. Oh, wait a minute now.
Now you're in trouble.
Right. I'm not interviewing anyone.
Exactly.
We all know how well Jay does with buttons and GPSs.
Oh,
and
my.
phones and,
Technologically impaired. For a guy that is such a big Star Trek fan, you would think he would be ahead of the curve with the technology.
You know, and I have friends of mine that are even worse. If you believe that. Some people I know don't even know how to change a channel.
Oh God.
That's it. That's sad. But all right, now
Getting back to wrestling.
back to wrestling. The bulk of the conversation here revolving around McMahon and company and World Wrestling Entertainment, and we'll start out in January. This was the last appearance of CM Punk in the WWE at the Royal Rumble. No one knew any of this was going to happen at all. Anybody shocked? What about you, Dan? That he's gone? That he's...
I think he's made a better move for himself.
Right.
Yeah, he had a bigger following in WWE, but he'll make, if he can stay healthy, he'll make more money.
Definitely.
If he can win.
Yeah.
If he can win.
I think initially he's going to get a big nut for just the initial appearance, but Dana White runs the UFC, and
Right.
He's interested in the best fighters and the best fights available, and it doesn't matter. Your name holds a certain value, but if you can't fight and you're not going to give the UFC fans a quality match, he's not going to last.
Yeah.
I don't think Dana White is going to mess around.
Exactly.
And hopefully, they give him the right opponent at the right time, and
And
match
it all
him up
works
very
out
well.
for him because, like I said last week, the thing I worry about with wrestlers going into the UFC is, and even Joseph Von Spitz, you do the wrong thing and you're gonna wind up on the ground and your nose is
Right.
gonna be in the back of your throat.
Right,
And,
Yeah.
right.
Right. It's
Well, hopefully he knows what he's doing. He has been training for quite a while now, and as I said, I think it's going to be all in the matchup.
right. All in
And
the
hopefully,
matchup.
as Joseph Von Schmidt said,
Lesnar lost real quick to begin with. I know
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Batista lost real quick. I know that.
Lesnar lost real quick, but then he came back and won the championship.
That's
Yeah,
correct.
he beat Couture, right?
Was it? Yeah, at one point he did beat
Yeah.
Randy Couture. But
Yeah.
And from my understanding, he actually defended that title more than he's defending his current title.
Yes, that's true.
Right. I think everybody's defended their titles more often. I think I defended the North Haven title more often than Brock Lesnar defends the WWE. I tell you.
Yeah, I'm surprised that CM Punk is going to take that. You know, being that he was complaining about being injured
Right.
and having to be on the road and stuff, and just working hurt, and now you're going to go into a profession where people are like looking to hurt you.
Right. It's your job
You
to
know,
hurt someone.
Right.
All-
I mean, the potential to get hurt. You know, obviously we know WWE is a work.
Right.
You know, and the guys are working together to put on the best show that they can.
Right.
And they're not intentionally hurting one another. You
But
know,
here in the UFC,
here in the UFC, you know, the potential to be hurt
there's a lot more.
is immense. And
Right.
I just don't understand that thinking. And I think a lot of people are just like scratching their heads like, okay.
Maybe it's a desire of his. It's a hidden desire, I guess. He seems like he's eloquent about the sport. I saw him on Fox Sports
Yeah.
doing some, you know, whoever it was asking him some, you know, big questions about different people in the UFC, and he seemed kind of knowledgeable about it.
Well, I mean, we're knowledgeable about wrestling, but we're not ready to get in the ring.
Right.
You know, he can know everything about Joe Rogan.
Mm-hmm.
You know, stand-up comedian, is probably the most knowledgeable guy about UFC, you know, on the planet.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, and he's ringside at every match, and he's been doing it for since Dana White got involved.
Right.
And the Fertitta, what's his brothers? I can't pronounce their name, but the two brothers that actually own the UFC. But you know, obviously Joe Rogan's not ready to get in the ring either.
No.
But you know, he's one of the, you know, I would say he's the best UFC minds going. You know, he's basically the Jim Ross of
Yeah.
UFC.
I think you'll find out pretty quick. As soon as he takes a couple really good, angry punches to the face, he's going to be like, wait a minute, these
Yeah.
guys are not playing around.
Yeah,
And
the
he's-
sparring, you know, sparring and training is one thing.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, if you've ever been punched in the mouth by somebody who doesn't like you, you're like, oh, wait a minute, that hurts.
I'm sure there's a few people that would like to take a crack at me, but
No, no.
The big news story that came out of February, and everybody knows this, it was something was talked about for years and years of them doing it, and they finally did it, but it wasn't like what we thought it would be. It ended up being an online streaming service, the launch of the WWE Network, and how it has literally changed things. It's amazing. I mean, the things that happened with the pay-per-views, they're no longer really
Yeah.
what you would call pay-per-views anymore, because a lot of these providers no longer provide them because of the WWE Network and the great package deal. You could get all those pay-per-views for nothing, and all that exotic footage of WCW,
Yeah.
ECW, things you haven't seen in years, and original programming. We don't want to mention the price, but different packages. Dan, how do you see it lasting? I figure I'll go to you to begin with.
Well, I think you know my feelings on that. From what I've seen, having tried to view several different pay-per-views on there, I see a lot of problems with the connections and their Rokus and all their seem
Right.
to drop and fumble the ball. And even if it is priced reasonably cheap, at a price which we won't mention on tonight. Unless they improve the quality of their transmissions, I don't think it's going to last long.
I disagree. I mean, I have no problem. I think it might be your router or your connection.
A lot of it
I
had,
have
I think a lot of the last problem with me personally had to do with the internet we have was provided by what the company that bought AT&T out.
Right.
Right, and a lot of people have been having problems with
Okay, because honestly, I mean, you know.
that. I'm thinking of that as a possibility.
All right, you know, I mean, I have a different company, and I have no issue. I've got a decent router, and I really don't have any problems.
Right.
You know,
They
I
did have
and
some
you
deal
Roku
with.
while we're talking. I mean, he mentioned Roku. That's what I stream to my television. And not only do I stream the WWE Network, but I stream Netflix and quite a few other services
Right.
through the Roku box. And I rarely, if ever, have an issue. So I think, you know, what you're saying, in my experience, it might be a problem on your end with hardware rather
Right.
than a problem with the WWE itself. Now, are you?
Yeah, I tell you, begrudgingly did the November was the free
Right,
thing, and
right.
I got it, and you know, I started watching it immediately just to look at some of what they had going on, and I haven't found any issues with anything.
Okay.
I mean, I sometimes I'll use it when I go to work out. It'll buffer a little bit, but I think your point is good. Is that I think it has something to do with what kind of router you have. When I was watching what was the Survivor Series, I had no interruptions at all.
Right.
You know, and I got to watch Sting come out and do what he did, and I was like, it didn't miss a beat. So, you know, pleasantly surprised, and continue to still keep the
Right, and I think if they continue to expand their library, which they do on a regular basis, and hopefully come up with some original programming.
Right,
some
more original
more
programming.
original programming.
Right.
That keep everyone.
Well, they do have a tremendous tremendous volume of programs that they're capable to put out because
Yeah.
of the library that they do possess. But the problem I'm speaking of not only occurred in one part of the state, but in another, as you know. So if that's happening numerous times, people are going to say, okay, it's only this much, but
Right, but I'm not sure that the blame falls on the WWE.
Could be a lot of things. I
they're
mean,
providing the content.
yeah, I know they're
as
having
far as-
problems in Europe too.
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know if
Well, that's contracts. That's
Okay.
contractually issues with the actual cable providers are upset because they're going to lose revenue, and they already have contracts for the pay-per-views.
Right.
So the cable providers are saying, hey, you're going to take that revenue stream away from us by providing the network at whatever price that they're going to, how many pounds it's going to be over there. So
And it's changed things dramatically for the wrestling world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot, even television as it is.
Right, and
because
as I
a lot of other stations, networks are
Right, I
looking and
predicted.
hoping that
Yeah, I
this will work.
predicted earlier in the year, since we're doing a year-end review, I predicted that a lot of networks were going to do that, and I believe starting mid next year, HBO is going to be stream only. The HBO is going to pull away from the cable providers, and they're going to be
which they're doing.
correct. And I predicted that, and you're going to see the cable providers lose more and more stations and companies because going directly through your smart TV, your Roku device, your wireless device, HBO is getting 100% of the profit from that, and they don't have to share it with the cable provider. So it's just a matter of economics that the cable companies are soon to become dinosaurs. And unless they can come up with some either better pricing plan or better content, cable companies are going to be gone. They're just going to be an internet provider, and that's it.
So sooner or later, it may take some time, but
I say 5 years.
Yeah. I think the thing about the network is that, I mean, it kind of introduced, I'm just speaking from my perspective, is NXT. I've never watched that until I got that.
right.
And now I'm watching it, and you get to see a lot of these new guys coming up, and you're like getting excited because you could see the progression from that program going up into into the Raw and the SmackDown and some of the other stuff. So I think that's part of making the whole Raw experience and SmackDown experience a lot more exciting for people.
Yep.
It's definitely that is something you could only see on YouTube, or if you
Yep.
were a resident of the state of Florida. I
Right.
know it comes on in some markets in Florida.
Yep. Yep.
But now you can see it with the network. It's you can see the future of the company is exactly what it is.
And I think and I mentioned that I hope like Ring of Honor can figure out a way to do a streaming service. And
Even TNA as well could.
TNA, correct.
Right.
And hopefully Destination America will have some sort of
Streaming.
streaming and on demand. And that's the other part of about the network and those type of services, the streaming services that, as you know, you work crazy hours, I
Yep.
work crazy hours, and it's not always convenient to watch at the time that they air it. The cable
Yep.
company airs something at 8 o'clock on a Friday night. I'm at work.
Right.
You know, but with the streaming service, I just hit the button and it starts.
Right.
You know, and then if I need to go away from it, I hit stop, and then I go back and I hit start, and it resumes from where I left.
No,
Exactly.
granted, they always, the cable providers and satellite providers have the remotes where you can record
So the
something.
DVR and and the on-demand and stuff, but
Right.
you know, not everybody has it, and you got to pay extra for that. And
What happens if you lose power, or what happens with the daytime programming, daytime TV, and Mr. President comes
Yeah,
on
yeah,
at 2 o'clock,
that's your General Hospital.
which he seems to always do. Which he seems to always do.
right.
The president will have to get his own network. That's what's going to happen.
You know, maybe.
Well, he's already busy interrupting weddings, so you know.
Right. Yeah. Well,
Right.
I think he'll have to sign an executive order.
Right.
Have his own network.
Right, he has to get his own streaming service.
Yeah.
Obama 24/7. There you go.
And he can air capital punishment.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, the more, as wrestling fans, we like to see the more wrestling product we can from different companies.
Yep.
Right.
But is it possible at one point that there's going to be so much product out there that there's a danger of oversaturation?
I think that's a good thing because it'll be whoever's running the best quality product will succeed.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's how many different musicians and bands go out there, and not everybody succeeds. And it's the right band, the right music at the right time, but it's also the quality of it. And I think people will watch, and sample it, but whoever's putting out the quality product, and I really want TNA or a Ring of Honor to come up, and we say this all the time, to go back to the Monday Night Wars. The reason that WWE and WCW got so competitive,
That was they were the reason for each other's success. At
right.
different-
Yeah, because one was trying to outdo the other.
They brought the best out in one another. Big competition always does that.
And going back, last month when Steve Austin, brought up that subject to Vince McMahon. Without anybody breathing down your neck, how do you stay competitive? How do you stay creative? And I really think that WWE is suffering just from mediocrity because they have no competition.
Now they have to compete against themselves. That's what Vince even said.
Yeah, you get fat and lazy, was what it comes down to. There's no. It's like someone who gets a player that gets a $100 million contract, and next year they're not as good as they were the year before.
Right.
And I think you go back to the WCW Raw Wars. I think the internet now, the way the internet is set up and the way people are looking at things, it's that you have some of these smaller promotions, and we'll just say PWA. There's people that are interested in that product, and what happens is as you bring people who are interested in that product, they want to do something to help increase that popularity of that product.
Yep.
And you're going to find people doing, maybe it's, I've seen a few YouTube videos with, some of the wrestlers, PWA, Social Bond Smith against, I think it was AR Fox.
Yep.
That was a great match. But what happens, people start to see that and they want to see more.
Yeah.
And before you know it, it's like, well, wait a minute. Now the actual live event becomes a bigger event.
Yes.
And then people are like, you got to go see these guys. And I think that's where the hook will be.
Yep. Yeah, I agree.
Definitely. Then we had April.
We're all out of April.
Wrestle-
We better hurry up. We're not going to get through the year.
WrestleMania 30.
Yes.
WrestleMania 30, where Daniel Bryan became the champion, of course.
Yep.
The Yes Movement, the culmination of the Yes Movement. You saw the night before the induction of the Ultimate Warrior to the Hall of Fame, something we never thought we would ever see.
Right.
And the following night, his appearance on Raw, and unfortunately the night after that, he had passed on.
Yeah, that was
It
probably
was
the
just
biggest
amazing.
shock.
Yeah.
Huge shock.
Amazing, shocking, amazing, I should say.
Right,
It was just-
right. That was just as you said, I didn't think we'd ever see,
Right.
And
And
hopefully,
what are the odds of that happening?
yeah, hopefully next year we'll see, Randy Savage,
Right.
because he's long overdue, and I think Vince is finally, I don't know if he's getting softer in his old age, but he's starting to, let the grudges go.
Right.
Not with
You know.
Bret Hart and Natalia.
Not with Bret Hart and Natalia. But, You know, and we saw Bruno Sammartino for 20 plus years said he would never, ever, ever, and we saw
hell
Bruno
froze
Sammartino,
over, yeah.
and then and like you said, we saw Jim Hellwig, and God knows that. Just that DVD alone.
I think he must have known something was wrong with him, but it was one of those things you have to do. It was like a bucket list of his just to make amends with Vince and the WWE. Perhaps I don't know.
Was going on because we had reported on it. As far as like 3 to 4 months ahead of WrestleMania, that he was in Stanford and he was in talks for something, and he actually did the video game. Was it the All-Stars?
Right,
WWE All-Stars, and he was involved with that. So he was, I don't want to say being courted, but he was in talks with WWE.
Right, definitely.
So it was kind of like they were feeling him out, and it came about through that and merchandising and stuff like that. And the merchandising right now, my son's got the shirt right on, is through the roof for Ultimate Warrior.
Definitely. Were you surprised to see him, Dan?
I thought it was refreshing for him. Was a terrible loss to the wrestling community as a whole. I mean, following his career in the 80s and stuff, I was totally floored when that happened.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's just one of those horrible coincidences.
Yeah.
Has such a great night, such a great the Hall of Fame and WrestleMania, and then for that to happen, it's just heart goes out to his family. And stuff.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Definitely. Also at WrestleMania 30, The Undertaker, out of nowhere, Brock Lesnar is the one in 21-1.
But Paul Heyman is the one behind the one
In 21-1.
Right, Paul Heyman.
I think the voice of the voiceless.
I'm still not in agreement with that.
No.
You're just mad because the stock went down the day after.
Oh goodness me, the stock went down today too.
I think other people could have easily ended the streak. I mean, Vince McMahon basically took big responsibility for the whole thing. That was his idea, and but Undertaker was a gentleman about it and did the right thing basically for business. I think other people could have done it. I would have personally liked to have seen Sting end it.
Yeah. I think
Anyone but Cena.
Stuff on the peanut gallery.
there's a peanut gallery.
Yes.
Yeah, I that's one of the things I just wish they would have just let him win. He goes out, undefeated. Nobody ever touches him. Even if he fought, I'm a huge Sting fan, as I mentioned before. But even if Sting lost to him, I think there's certain holy grails you don't touch, and I think that would have been the holy grail of wrestling, is that he went out how he went out. Listen, Lesnar's amazing, and he's a monster, but that's just one of those things you don't. What's the other one?
It was a shocking moment.
Yeah, you don't tug on Superman's cape.
Yeah.
You don't beat the Undertaker.
You don't beat the Undertaker. I agree.
Well, I agree. They shouldn't have ended the streak there. And if Heyman is the man behind the man, does that mean he's the man that's doing all the vacation scheduling for Brock?
The absentee champion.
That's it.
Yeah, I think you touched on it a little bit. I think the story of the year for the WWE was the stock was at $32 and now it's down to $12. And leading into WrestleMania, it was the highest the stock has ever been. Vince McMahon himself made the list of billionaires with a B. He became a billionaire and then lost it in half after WrestleMania. And, and the stock hasn't rebounded
Since.
at all. Yeah.
We don't know what they can do to.
And by ending the streak, they took away that what if element.
Yeah.
Because you knew eventually it was going to happen, but
Or
there was
could've,
always that teaser of
Right.
Yeah.
It just, I think it was more like he wanted to add shock value, wanted to make Lesnar good. Because you think of all the momentum Lesnar will have going into this year's WrestleMania with that in mind.
Oh, I really don't think he's got. I mean, the guy's never around.
Except for that.
Right. I mean, how can you have momentum when you're just not?
If he starts showing up for work once in a while.
he's never around, to agree with John, and He's already looking to get back into the mixed martial arts
Right.
world.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like you almost you say it in one way. It's like you're so used to what you've seen through the years with the champions. He goes out every night. Maybe he doesn't wrestle every night, but he's
Right.
there. You know, you had the same thing with Ric Flair. Ric Flair didn't wrestle every single night,
Right.
but he was there, and you knew, like, you know what? Maybe he's going to run in the ring. Maybe he's going to do something.
Yeah.
And I think you know, that's something they need to continue, and maybe they'll do that if, you know, Seth Rollins ever wins the championship. Daniel Bryan obviously back into the mix now, and I think that was a big thing. You know, you talk about Lesnar beating The Undertaker.
Yep.
I think some of the steam came out once Daniel Bryan won the championship. I think the fans were so excited.
Yep.
But then when he had the injury, I think people were like, well, wait a minute, we were waiting such a long time for this guy to be there.
Right.
And I think the whole line of stories behind that kind of, you know, people are like, well, what do we do now? And then
Yeah.
you get the Cenas, who, you know, was a great, you know, former champion,
Yeah.
but people are like, hey, we were waiting for our guy to finally be in there and see what he could do, and then he had to go back out, you know?
Yeah.
And you got the 30-day clause, which has historically been in place.
Yep.
It's an age-old tradition that's been in place,
Yeah.
and that's something that's
And
going to
you
have
know,
to.
had they not acknowledged it by stripping Daniel Bryan, but they still
They acknowledged it was stripping Daniel Bryan, which
Right.
is my next thing. Is he had to give up that belt?
Right.
That's my next thing.
Yeah.
Early summer, he gave up the belt due to injury, and now you have Brock Lesnar,
and now
who's
the
never
rule,
around,
and the rule
he's
doesn't
perfectly
apply.
okay, right?
And the rule doesn't apply.
Because he's part time,
And yet
He's the
he's
authority, he's part of
supposed to
the
be the
job.
face of the company.
right?
Yep.
He's smart. He gets paid for holding the belt.
Yeah, I get paid to hold the belt.
So that being said, did they have to have a
Well,
what,
you know,
what,
maybe-
what did
maybe
he
he
do,
thinks-
what did they do to Cena became the champion? I'm drawing a blank. I don't remember. They had a tournament or
Cena became champion at Money in the
Money in the Bank.
Yes.
Yep.
Money in the Bank. They had a Money in the Bank match to see
Right.
who would become the champion.
Yep.
He went on to defend that in August at SummerSlam, and that's how Lesnar is now your reigning, defending WWE champion.
Right. Well, maybe Lesnar thinks he's still in the UFC because I mean the champion can only fight, you know, maybe 3-4 times a year at most.
In the UFC.
Yeah, because I
Right.
mean, you know, I mean,
It's a little different.
right. It's a lot different.
I mean, that's why I'll give, you know, Ring of Honor credit. I'll give TNA credit. I'll give All Japan credit. You know who their champions are.
Yep.
They're out there they're fighting,
always
defending
around.
their title, representing their companies. Lesnar's nowhere.
Right.
Nowhere to be found. They have to reevaluate this whole part-time status employee
right.
thing eventually in the future.
I'll tell you what, Joseph von Schmidt himself, that he said the TV title will be defended every week
Right.
when they have their performance center up and running.
Exactly.
You know, and at the bare minimum, the TV title will be defended every month at PWA event.
Wow.
So our TV, the PWA Squared Circle TV title will be defended. It's not going to be sitting collecting dust on
Unlike the
shelf
WWE
someplace.
title. November, we had the long-awaited WWE debut of Sting. Something we knew was going to happen at some point over the year. We knew it was going to happen because we knew his talks with McMahon and with the making of the video game there. Are you surprised it happened when it did?
I'm
You're the
not.
Sting fan.
I called it.
Yes, you did.
John said, you know, I called it, and I was like a little kid. I saw him coming out. I heard the music. I was jumping up and down in my living room. It was probably one of the most exciting things. And
It was shocking, even though you knew it was going to happen.
yeah,
Just to see him finally show up.
yeah, and I think they pulled it off perfectly. They could not have done. They could have probably done a little bit more, but I think they did the best job they could. And I think everybody's like, "When's he coming again?" And I
Right.
think that's what you need. I think people were waiting last night when they had Edge sitting out there, and but I think that was huge. It would have been the thing I would have really liked to seen is that God rest his soul, the Ultimate Warrior, and still around, and Sting coming out, and at some point maybe them meeting together to do battle against the Authority. I think would have been absolutely huge.
Blade Runners reunion. That could have
Yes.
could have been a possibility.
There you
That
go.
could have been great. That would have been
There you
great.
go.
It would have been better than the Ascension.
Yeah, you could have brought back Eddie Gilbert too as the manager.
Yeah.
Now we're really digging.
No, really. Yeah, exactly. But if we were going to see the return of the Authority due to what happened last night. Busy month of December with the Colt Cabana podcast with CM Punk as his guest. Steve Austin's podcast on the network with Vince McMahon as his guest. Basically within a week of each other, and then CM Punk signing with the UFC, and then culminating into last night, where this is exactly what happened. They had the Cutting Edge Peep Show, the Edge and Christian combined show, with Seth Rollins as the guest, and Seth Rollins has been complaining over the past few weeks that the Authority's been gone. And knowing that Edge has a big, massive neck injury, went ahead, he and the Big Show, and he threatened to do it, put Edge in a wheelchair.
Right.
If John Cena didn't bring back the Authority. Do you think it's too quick that the Triple H and Stephanie are coming back?
Yeah, I mean, you can't miss them if they never go away.
They've only been going for a few weeks.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's too quick. But one thing you got to remember is Triple H. He's one of the best talkers in the business. People tune in to see Triple H. He improves the ratings.
Yeah, and I think the fact he's going to go back and forth, it looks like appears he's going to go, him and Sting are going to fight it out.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that's going to be a very interesting piece, which will, if you're a Sting fan, it might bring Sting back a little into the fold a little bit quicker.
Yeah.
So.
Right, because Sting originally signed for 6 appearances. He has 5 left, so they have to determine, what they're gonna do with Sting and how best to use them.
Yeah, they have to be careful with how they use
best
them.
for business.
Right.
Number 30, Royal Rumble.
Royal Rumble, Sting in the Royal Rumble. We'll see.
30.
Possibly.
We'll see.
Sting appearance at the Royal Rumble.
So, are we going to predict that Daniel Bryan wins the Royal Rumble?
No, I mean, I don't know. I still want to see them go with Roman Reigns. Daniel's year was last year. It's time for someone else.
But, I mean,
I do like Dean Ambrose too.
Huge return. For him to come in and get eliminated, it's kind of anticlimactic for his storyline.
Right.
Unfortunately, not everyone can win.
Right, exactly.
Somebody's going to get.
Or it could come down to Reigns and Bryan and almost like the Lex Luger and Bret Hart situation from years past where they both landed on the, ground at the same time.
Yeah. I think
Co-winners.
I think they're setting the table for some bigger war between everybody. Sorry, I just hit you.
It's all right.
I think they're trying to set the table for something bigger so that, you're going to end up with that final match with Sting and his guys against the Authority and Vince McMahon or something on that. But who knows at the end of the day. So.
Yeah. It should be fun.
So, and finally, wrapping up before, we figure out what the best moment was and we do our Steam segment quick. The indie scene, we tried to make it out to as many indie shows as we can. PWA definitely. Been to Northeast Wrestling, extremely talented wrestling. We saw the return of Vinny V and company as well.
Yep. And thanks to Vinny V for having us and letting us film.
Haters loved us, as they always do. And we also said goodbye to our friend Ox Baker.
Yes.
Yeah. Sad day.
Yeah.
Sad day.
Yeah, we touched upon that a little bit last week with Joseph von Schmidt. And, we lost a few people in the wrestling world.
Definitely.
Ox Baker and Ultimate Warrior.
Ultimate Warrior.
At the top ones.
Jimmy Del Rey from the Heavenly Bodies.
Yeah.
We lost Sean O'Hare.
Yes.
Former co-holder of the WCW Tag Team Championship, too.
Yeah. Should have made the list.
Definitely.
But, it's been a year of ups, it's been a year of downs, and we're going to probably see more of the same next year. But hopefully, as I said before, next year will be the year of Joseph von Schmidt and PWA.
So we'll do a combination, blowing off steam, plus what was your finest, what you thought was the greatest moment.
And this segment is brought to you by
American Steam.
American Steamed.
What about you, Dan?
There it is.
Well,
Greatest moment. What was the worst moment of blowing off steam?
well, Here again, agreeing with John. I mean, out of all the independent shows that we've been through, attending this year, we've had a great cameraman with us attending those shows. Dylan, John's son, has been with us filming. We thank Dylan for that.
And his contributions to our page.
And PWA, from what I've seen, they're hungry, they're upcoming, they're doing great things with the kids, and they're truly in a class of their own, so they have to be my best of the year.
Excellent. And if I can add to that, the PWA Youth Program begins on January 12th, and you can go to the PWA Pro Wrestling Academy CT.com for the information to get your, yeah, I said it right, to get your son or daughter or youth signed up for the program. It's a great thing, and as I said to Pete, Joseph Bunschmidt, last week, not only does he teach you safety, not only does he teach you wrestling in the ring, he and his instructors are mentors inside the ring, outside the ring, on how to conduct yourself as a person, not just a wrestler, as a person. And I must say, and I thank Pete, Joseph Bunschmidt, to break kayfabe, sorry. But I thank Joseph Bunschmidt because I consider him a mentor for myself. You know, and we've had our ups and downs here, and we've had issues with some of the people in the wrestling community, and he's given me sage advice, and I really have to thank him for that. And it's so honestly, for me, right, and I'm not smooching butts, but Joseph Bunschmidt is the best of the year for me.
Definitely. What about you?
I think it would be easy to say that I had two of them, but you know, obviously Daniel Bryant winning the championship was a big thing. I thought that was a highlight. Sting, but you know, I just have to say overall, it's just the fact that, you know, getting to see the independent shows, and this program's been a vessel for me to be able to go back out and spend time at, you know, some of these independent PWA, which, you know, enough said there. You know, I absolutely love the product. But some of these other independent, you know, wrestling groups out there, it gets you back in, and I think this show does a great job of getting people to get to take a look at it. And I think, as stewards, as fans, we should, you know, continue to help the indie groups there.
Definitely.
Least favorite moment: Undertaker losing, and I'll leave it at that.
I'll have to agree with you. The blowing off steam moment was the Undertaker losing. Shock value, definitely. But the best. I was no more proud to be a wrestling fan than two things: Daniel Bryan winning the WWE title at WrestleMania 30, and last week when we got this great PWA Squared Circle television title. We can see it right there.
Yeah.
Definitely, that's our defining
My
moment of the.
scripture's plugged there.
Yes,
Right.
yes, yes.
And also.
And that's all thanks to PWA and
Definitely.
Joseph Bunschmidt.
And also, I'm going to clear my name next year. You're going to see I was not behind Monkey Gate. And hopefully, you know, we have better working relationships with other people involved in public access and other
Yeah,
things.
you know, I mean,
You
we haven't touched base with the Paragon Wrestling League, and there was some controversy on how they came about, and we'd like to reach out and have some of their stars
Right.
on the show, and hopefully next year we'll get involved with them. And strangely enough, they do their show at the JCC, which is the Jewish Community Center, which is dear to my heart. And,
Right.
and ironically enough, I haven't been there for their shows because they run their shows when I work. But
You
we'll have to make
You work
arrangements.
hard so others don't have to.
That's correct.
But Happy New Year, folks. Good night and good luck. And stay safe. And we'll see you
Next, well,
not in
not
2
live, in
Tuesdays.
2 Tuesdays.
Definitely. Good night.
Next Tuesday.
And good luck.
Thank you, Bill.